S'mores, I'm Shannon Morse. We hear a lot about data breaches over the years, and this one is actually kind of big and a little worrisome. Now, AT&T just dropped this big bombshell in July. They told us that a massive data breach that exposed call and text records from mid to late 2022 just happened this year. Now, this affects tens of millions of AT&T customers, as well as many non-AT&T users who communicated with them. So if you're thinking, oh, am I affected? Well, chances are you probably were, even if you aren't an AT&T customer. So here's the lowdown on what was compromised exactly. First off, we have phone numbers. Nearly all AT&T cellular customer numbers were leaked. The call and text records, every single number called or texted, and the number of interactions and the call durations. And then we have the cell site IDs. Now, for some users, that includes cell site identification numbers, giving away approximate location data. Now, all of this is called metadata. The actual contents of calls and texts, like what you were texting somebody, your social security numbers, dates of birth, and customer names, so that AT&T customer information was not exposed. However, linking names to specific phone numbers is often just a piece of cake with publicly available tools, like a very simple search on a data broker website. Now, speaking of which, today's sponsor is DeleteMe. If you were affected by this AT&T data leak, you probably want to hear about DeleteMe, so stick around for the TLDR and a very sweet discount. Okay, so AT&T blames this breach on an illegal download from their workspace on Snowflake, which is a third-party cloud platform. They discovered the breach in April while dealing with another major leak from March. AT&T seems to have been targeted alongside a few other attacks on Snowflake. Companies like Ticketmaster and a bank called Santander Bank apparently use Snowflake too, and they were also hit. So let's go ahead and break down the potential risks, because there are a few of them, and this is not just about getting a few spam calls. So first off, we have social engineering threats. With this data, scammers could potentially craft super convincing phishing scams, and they probably will, because that's one of the easiest things that they could do. They could build detailed profiles for identity theft, potentially compromising your financial and personal security. Knowing your communication patterns can also help them in their attacks when you are most vulnerable. For example, they could clone and pretend to be somebody that you know and then send you text messages asking for money. And you would think that it was actually coming from your friend or family, but in reality, those text messages are actually coming from an attacker. You never know. You always have to double check. Now, I have dedicated this channel to bringing you really in-depth tech content with pro tips trickled in as shorts. So if you want those pro tips trickled in that I drop every single week, a quick click on the subscribe button tells me what kind of content you want to see more of. Another thing you probably want to be aware of is that your phone number can expose your personal information. So your phone number is kind of like this digital fingerprint in a way. It can expose a ton of personal info and make you a target for spam calls, obviously, for texts, and for phishing attempts. Scammers can use it to find your address, your social security number, and even information about your relatives online, and they can create that profile about you. The other potential threat is SIM swapping and fraud. The danger extends beyond annoying spam. Of course, that's annoying, but SIM swapping is a real threat. Attackers might try SIM swapping, where they transfer your phone number to a device that they control in their hands. That can give them access to accounts that use your phone number for two-factor authentication, leading to unauthorized access to financial accounts like PayPal, or your social media accounts like YouTube or Facebook. They could open new accounts in your name. In extreme cases, that data could also be used for stalking or for harassment. Now, Senator Ron Wyden is calling for very hefty financial penalties for these kind of large-scale breaches, and this is something that he's often been fighting for. But will this lead to stricter regulations and better security measures? Only time is going to tell, but until then, we need to focus on what we can do to protect ourselves. We can't depend on anybody else. So here's what you need to do to stay stay safe. Number 1 is changing all of those passwords. Use strong, unique passwords for each and every single account, especially your AT&T one. A password manager can make this a lot easier because then you can easily figure out which accounts you have passwords on. You can easily go in and automate the password changes. And you can also choose to make randomly generated passwords within your password manager that are extremely strong and very, very hard to brute force. Number 2 is enabling 2FA or multi-factor authentication. Making sure that you enable two-factor or multi-factor authentication wherever possible is extremely important. One of the easiest ways to do this is simply to log into each of your accounts, go into your settings for security and privacy, and see if they have an option for enabling multi-factor or a login code or something like that. I've also done many different videos on my channel about MFA and two-factor authentication, so definitely check out those videos if that's complete gibberish to you. And number 3 is beware of phishing scams. Be very, very skeptical about emails or messages asking for personal information. If it smells fishy, it probably is fishy, so just make sure that you're being skeptical about everything that comes into your email inbox. And number 4, monitor your accounts. Make sure to keep an eye on your bank and credit card statements for any kind of unusual or weird activity. That's always a highly recommended option. And number 5, check your risk. You can use services like DeleteMe to remove your personally identifiable information off the internet. Now, did you know that there are companies out there that know all sorts of private info about you, and they put that info online publicly for anybody to find? I'm not even exaggerating about this. Your phone number, your home address, your email address, your family's names, your private info, their private info, your occupation, your marital status, your age, all that information is available on different data brokers. Data brokers are out there just compiling this data and making it very easy to find. Now, data brokers are those companies that collect and sell your information online without you even knowing or having any kind of consent to go on with that. Imagine if somebody knew where you live, what you buy, who you vote for, and then selling all that information to marketers and insurance companies, or a lot worse. It's kind of like having a personal stalker, and I should know because I have had a personal stalker in my lifetime. Except in the case of data brokers, it's legal. They do it all the time. So I have a solution for you. It's called DeleteMe. I love DeleteMe. DeleteMe is a service that removes your personally identifiable information from data brokers. So they go through that painstaking process of finding your data on all those different shady websites and getting it removed. So it's kind of like having your own personal cleanup crew for your online presence. I have been a paying customer of DeleteMe long before they sponsored my channel, and I've coined the company as my online privacy assistant. And I love calling them that because that's exactly what they do. I don't have the time to opt out of hundreds of data brokers because yes, there are actually hundreds of them while I'm running a business as well. So I have DeleteMe do it for me. For me, it is well worth it. DeleteMe works tirelessly to keep your data and your private details private. They tackle those data brokers head on so you don't have to worry about your info ending up in the wrong hands. Plus, they do it regularly because, let's face it, data brokers are relentless and they keep on repopulating your data on their sites all the time. Do I sound angry? Good, because I am. So if you are worried about where scammers and spammers just keep on finding your phone number, or you need to take precautions to prevent stalking and scams, then DeleteMe is a product that I have recommended to everybody I know for many, many years. And just a few months ago, they added a bunch of features to their family plans too, if you want to protect your family as well. So you can use the code SNUBS, that's SNUBS, for 20% off and see how DeleteMe can help you take your online privacy to the next level. Hit up joindeleteme.com/Morse code and choose how many people you want to protect and sign up today. It's super easy. Thank you so much to DeleteMe for being my privacy assistant online when I have needed it most in my life, and thank you so much for sponsoring this video. Now, according to a report by Wired, the hacker group called Shiny Hunters, which is notorious for multiple high-profile data breaches, claims that AT&T had paid them a whopping $300,000 in Ransom. So the hackers had provided proof of a cryptocurrency exchange that supposedly took place way back in May. However, crypto tracing experts could not identify the owners of the wallets involved. So there is still a lot of mystery here. Another news group called Script News did not independently confirm that ransom payment, and that is the article that I am referencing here. And AT&T is staying pretty tight-lipped about it, so they're not giving any statements on the matter. So I'm sus. I don't know exactly how I feel about a big company like that paying off a ransom to a hacker group, especially when said hacker group says that yes, they deleted the data, but how do you actually have proof of that? Especially when data feels like it's kind of everlasting. So I don't know. I'm sus. I'm sus about the whole thing. Okay, so s'mores, what do you think about this breach? Does it change how you feel about your data privacy? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you found this video helpful, do not forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe and ring the notification bell so you don't miss updates from my channel. I hear from a lot of people all the time. They're like, oh, I didn't know you're still doing videos, which apparently I'm not showing up in your feeds. So make sure you hit that bell. Thank you so much for watching my video today, and I'll see you next time. Bye, y'all.